Hi, this is Mia. This is take two. I had some video game noise come on when I unmuted the speaker, which I probably didn't need to do. So it's already 1:19. It's spring forward. We all lost an hour. I just started laundry. I don't think the store is open under me. I get really energized starting laundry. We have a semi-manual machine. And the last two places me and my kids live together have a washer and dryer. This one's the one that's there is on the Fritz, but before that we had laundry on site, one in the basement and one at the other place. I think there was just a regular laundry room, but people kept getting lice in this one, and I saw cockroaches in the dryer of the other one. So between cockroaches and hair lice, I decided to drive to the west side to do laundry. Last time I had some free stuff I washed, comforters, and I took it to, I spent like 30, 40 bucks washing these things in King City, Oregon, and because I was like, oh, hopefully the people that use that laundromat are clean. The guy was helpful, so I didn't know how to use the machines, and then that whole thing fell apart and it all puffed up, and I threw it in the trash. Normally I wouldn't want to throw it in the trash. I think I actually put it on my bed, but it was like a big puffy marshmallow, like that instead of like flat. So part of me was like, just take the fluff out and make something else with it. And it's like, you lost your $40. You should have gone to Walmart and spent 20 bucks on a comforter. But I like to try to, that was salvage in the first place. I like to try to save my old stuff. And I definitely try to reuse material, and I have stuff stashed here that's reused. I don't like it personally. I am potentially always having an inspection, or the place, everything has value to it. Even like there's a poly bag right here from the other day. I think I took whatever was in it out, and I probably wore it to work, so it's probably running out the door, but I can see it right here, and I'm like, there was a time that I saved like a whole bunch of poly bags before I was a reseller, and then I asked my daughter, the very first item I sold, do you think I should reuse these torn up? It's not even like I cut them open carefully or take the label off without putting holes in it. They already get holes in them just from their delivery here or to your home. She's like, oh, you want to kind of have an image and follow through with that and be consistent. So I like headed up to the freaking, I probably sold the item for $5 and probably spent $4 on a poly bag or something at Fred Meyer, and then spent, back then you could spend like $2.77 on postage. Now I swear, I don't know, I think it went down. At last time for 1 to 4 ounces was over $4. Over $4 to mail something that technically it just has a tracking on it, which a machine reads, but technically you could stick it in an envelope with a stamp on it, like, you know, like, that sucks. That really sucks. Well, I guess if it's less than an ounce or whatever, but you know what I mean, like literally. But even then, you put 2 stamps on it, that's already over $1. But between $1, $2.77 it used to be, and then $4.25 or whatever for the lightest little thing. Speaking of lightest little thing, we're gonna look at this tea with glasses on, Detox Dandelion brand. I don't know if I can drink this because of it's probably not like raw or pure, but I couldn't read it in the store. Still can't read it. I don't see the ingredients. Here they are. It's because it's that double plastic around it. I was like, so dandelion root, lemongrass leaf, milk thistle seed. Oh, that's really good. For me, I can't tell you what to do. Lemon peel. It's probably not organic. Peppermint leaf. Was that coriander? I don't like coriander. Or is it? It says coriander seed, and then it says something de cilantro. Is that the same thing? I don't like coriander, and I don't like cilantro that much. Ginger root, hibiscus flower. It's gonna make it red. Licorice root, and then rose hips. So it has dandelion root, but not dandelion leaf. This was at the Latino store. It's a different brand. The store is pretty crowded, so I had there's a different one in walking distance, 2 in walking distance, and I grabbed one each time. The other one was immune support, and I did not drink it. I meant to drink it during COVID, but I was like, I wasn't thinking. I was like, whatever was on my mind, like step 1, 2, 3, do that. Just keep doing it. If it's working, just keep doing it. And so that's what I did. I didn't have the energy or I still feel crappy from that. So I want to make this video, guys, and I want to post it. And I have my tea waiting. It's probably cold. That tape keeps falling down. I'm supposed to send this in to get it repaired, but I'm in need of the computer. And this is the Lenovo Yoga. It drains the battery super fast, and that is noted online when you read the reviews. It was not charging last night. I don't know why. And then I put it on, and you can hear the fan. It's super noisy. It gets super hot, and it was 39%. Or maybe 41%, and then I look up and it's 39%, and I look up and it's 29%. Because I was in the Quaker meeting, so like within 40 minutes, it was like at 9%. I was like, that's crazy that I couldn't get through an hour with it, almost half, or at least 40%. You would think you would be able to get through an hour. But I will admit to having a lot of websites open, and Word documents and spreadsheets and stuff apparently that had noise coming through it. They're probably with these surveys and inbox dollars probably tracking everything that I say, causing more issues. But it gets super hot to the point where you don't want it on your lap. So that's pretty harsh. There was some other computers I could have got for the same price, but my boyfriend, I was in a meeting on Zoom, and he said, I'm getting ready to order this. Are you sure you want this? I was like, I don't care, whatever, yes. And I was like not listening, and he's like, oh, I ordered that. Like 10 minutes later when I was done, I was like, oh, I actually was looking at other brands, like, but okay. And was that in 2020? It came from China because it was factory made, specific for me. I mean, it's not like anything special. It's just like, what are your specs? And then it went to the continental U.S. and Alaska, and then back and forth, and it went through customs like twice. It kept going back and forth for like 2 weeks. It was really weird. I think we actually had to call and email or whatever. We had to contact some people and try to figure out and try to make sure it didn't go back, because 2020 stuff got stuck in the mail and whatever. I don't know who delivered it, but I'm grateful. I told myself, you take the gift that came to you and you use that for your businesses to make money so that you can buy the other type or buy the next one, or just be able to pay the electricity and the rent to house this, and if it so happens to live in a car or van, pay the gas and the upkeep, and the park fees. So I had been doing a research on wealthy people, particularly old wealth. I had thought for my whole life how particular my parents were about making certain food items, keeping the house a certain way, having the displays of their antiques and other collectibles, valuable things, certain collectibles that they all took some mind and know-how, and that would be before the internet, where, like, even now, people can't write. They get on these reseller groups and stuff, and they watch these videos, and then they buy the list from the guy. That's why they're making money. The people that have the money are making it, teaching us how to make the money, but are they really doing that? So that's part of the story, and that would be new wealth, upper middle class, and old wealth. I was thinking how particular my parents were and how their parents were servants to the wealthy, and a generation or two before that, slaves to people that became wealthy because of our work, because of our broken backs, because of our whips, because of our slavery, because of our families getting torn apart, because of us doing the physical labor, 6 days a week, and day after day, sun up to sundown, like, and I can think about house slaves being in the house with the masters and enslaved people, potentially mixed kids because of rape and all the different things that came with somebody who came here from Europe and pushed away the Native Americans and brought in blacks that they exploited from Africa. And what is it when you and 300 years of your family are sitting in the house ironing and serving these wealthy people and having these mannerisms and only learning to understand the Bible as far as your education? And what is it when there's white folks that came over from Ireland as indentured servants or came over as Polish or Italian and they set up their communities in New York City and spread out across the country and had their religious services and stuff still like old-fashioned and strong, and there's money associated with that. But what happens when you living amongst the really upper class? My mom was going to school with millionaires back in the 40s and 50s and she blended in because she was white skinned, and her hair, she used to get straighteners in her hair and she let it grow out or something. And I was like, oh my god, your hair's like straight. Now her hair wasn't straight like smooth straight, but compared to mine, her hair was like just so fine and soft, not wiry and shrinkage. So I actually did her hair a couple of times. I still remember this, that having it touch your mom's hair. I'm gonna cry, sorry. Okay, so looking online, going through the past 15 years at the old church, doing the Dave Ramsey on my own, looking up stuff online. I used to read Forbes, but I saw some really racist article one day, or I don't know if it's the whole article or some blurbs that were super insensitive. I accidentally had pulled that up today, but I actually stopped reading Forbes, and I was reading the money magazines at the library before COVID. Didn't know much about Warren Buffett. He had that TV show on Ion on Saturday mornings, and I was watching it like every Saturday when I wasn't working, before I was working like 7 days a week. And that was a few years ago. And he had these kids, and they were like, okay, we're going to have, where there's a need, and we're going to provide this service, and we're going to get paid, and we're going to plan and budget and, do a really good job, and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't really recognize him, and then I see him online only in the past like year or so, and you see like, oh, it's good to borrow money for your house. I live in a house. Where does he live? Out Oklahoma or something. Like, of course I borrowed money for this $40,000 house. Doesn't matter how much I had in the bank. The interest rate was low. Why not use your other money instead of paying cash for your $40,000 house? Why don't you invest that money, and you could invest it and make this much money, and you can pay off your low interest loan. And like, if you had just paid cash, you'd have the house that you want to live in. You're not trying to flip it, and you would have missed out on that kind of money, basically. So I looked at a few Warren Buffett tips, and just like Dave Ramsey, I feel like they're not going to tell you the true secret. And a lot of things with business and finances and anything, I say, hey, until I completely give up, let's go back to the source where I learned. Was it business school, from my medical school, or these different things? Most of the best work, I think we should get a refund back from those classes. I feel like hiring a lawyer. But anyways, I learned more on YouTube from people offering free classes, even if they offer you to pay. So anyways, I see Dave Ramsey feels like one of the worst. I'm going to sell you this book. I'm going to sell you this CD. I'm going to sell you this class. I'm going to sell you this game for your kids, this game for adults, and how you're going to do this and this and this, and do the envelope system. You're going to buy it from me because I'm going to teach you something that's not even unique. It's all something. I told my dad, I was like, oh, I learned this from Dave Ramsey. Oh, I learned this from Dave Ramsey. I learned this. And my dad says, you know what? We all know that. And I was like, oh, I guess I know. Was I in my young 30s? He's like, we all know this stuff. It's not unique. It's the same old thing. It's just that none of us do those things that they say to do. Now, one of them was to buy your kids, which you gotta have money to buy your kids a trailer park, and let your kids run a trailer park and have income generating property at age 18. And then, he teaches how you hire a manager and buy your car with cash and do this and do that. And if you have any debts, get rid of them ASAP. Don't even think twice about trying to borrow for school, and you're going to have a house loan, and you're going to get a snowball debt, and you're going to work 10,000 jobs, and you're going to work 24 hours and deliver pizzas and go into the city and do corporate work all day and deliver pizzas all night and never see your kids and never see your partner and never see your dog, and what you're gonna do, skip church and all that, because Joyce Meyer was trying to say, oh, you guys worked hard to pay for this car, and now driving past the junkyard, how many people missed out on seeing their kids grow up because they worked 2 jobs to buy this car that they wanted? Like, it's easy for her to say, because these people all were my age when I was growing up, and that things seemed way easier in the 70s and the 80s. You work, you buy something. You want a car that runs and gets your kids to school and you to work, you could have bought something for what, $400, decent car. You could buy a new one for what, $1,000 back then, $900, or like a new car in the 70s. Or you see the old TV show, game shows where they're giving away at least a brand new car. Even the old Miatas back when they came out were like $8,000-$9,000. It's probably the base model pre-tax, but you get the point. That was in the 90s. I told my mom, that's what you need to get. We need to have some fun, man. You're getting old. We need to have some fun. She wanted a Mercedes convertible. I was like, get you a Miata. You already had a Mazda. Didn't work that well. Anyways, that's a different story. I don't see anything that any wealthy person is really going to tell me about what to do. A lot of people say, hey, you get to work and get these degrees and go work for this company for 6. Well, I kind of feel like you have white privilege, even men and women. And even if it's harder for women, it might not be harder for women. Some women will get breast implants and hair blondes and extensions for even white people in order to, and facelifts in order to get that corporate job. What if I had Botox, you guys? You wouldn't see my eyebrows move like that. So what I'm realizing, that I've been realizing for the past 2 decades, like there's a guy on YouTube and on Facebook and has his own sites and businesses, and he's selling remote controls, right? And you're like, that's lame. But what is he doing? He's making videos. He probably plants it. He probably bought a warehouse full of stuff, borrowed his friend's property to keep these crates, because he's not going to pay his own money, because he's got to pay his bills from YouTube revenue. So this is how you do it. You sell this thing, you sell them for $10, you buy them for $1 or $2, you sell them for $10, $15, $20 a piece. And then you see these videos and you see him saying, oh, look at, I sold this and this and this month and the next month and the next month. And then 3 months later, I got a deal for you guys. You guys can buy 100 for $200 and I'll ship it to you. Oh, there's only a few left, email me, the first come, first serve. And so you already said, hey, how can I get that? And go to the Goodwill, they don't have any, they're taped to the VCR or whatever. You're like, wow, I can make the money. But then he's buying like tens of thousands of them. And everyone, as soon as he opens that store, everyone's buying them. He's making his money. He's taking out, he even says, which is his idea or his truth, take out the good ones, right? And sell the expensive ones. And then say he got 100 for $10. He's making $108 or $190. I mean, I'm not sure how much he paid. He's making $190. He might even offer free shipping or something. Probably not, but maybe flat rate or something. So it's good that he could do that. But it's also kind of a build-up. It's like, let's give him a little bit. Do this, then do this, then do this. Then boom, have I got a deal for you? And I see this with the same guy with blue jeans, a cell phone, and iPad, iPods, and his old videos. He's got this warehouse. And it's coming in, and there's employees and all these desks and computers, and the next thing you know, he's filming in the middle of the night with his guest room stocked up in the garage, has climate control, and it's got all this stuff, and people are like, you got too much stuff around your car, bro. But I appreciated seeing that, so I'm not criticizing him, but I am saying what he's really doing is obvious, but what's not obvious is that's how he's making his money. And you don't know, he could be a trust fund baby. He could be just doing this to say, hey, I'm having fun, I feel like a guru, Let me go spin this laundry. Hold on. Alright, so I have my tea. It's not hot, it's warm. So I was thinking about it in this video and thinking of, I can't tell you what the wealthy are doing. I feel like if I was wealthy, I feel like I'd be tapping into some kind of world privilege, pay $100 a day for a newspaper article or something just for the wealthy, just to keep the rest of us out. Preparedness minded. I can see every facet of life. Insurance, vehicles, food, backups, generators, RVs. I mean, if I find out some of the wealthy people I know aren't on board with this kind of stuff, I'd be surprised. I'd be like, you really are. You are in your own world, but you're in your own world. But you also, when the crap hits the fan, and someone's sitting here like me, that if I happen to have 2 generators, and they come and offer me a certain amount of money or barter something up, I'd be like, yeah. I'd probably be like, because I need, their money does talk. If they go in the store and find it sold out, I'm sure that they can swindle or make a deal with somebody. And that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people are just enjoying their lives and not worrying about, applying for 15 jobs a day, and you're already working 7 days a week, multiple jobs a day. The job that makes me the most money, I can't do because I'm working these low-paying jobs. And it's like, you're going to get $140 minimum at that job, but you're going to get $14 an hour minimum at that, or maximum at that job. Like that, talking about wealthy, they probably certainly close the $14. Like, don't even go there. You take a break. And my problem is, my self-employment's not guaranteed, but when I'm not working those other jobs, I get the phone ringing off the hook. I'm not even joking. Emails, messages, all this stuff. So, any money that I paid for my electronic health records, the whole 3 days of work just went to that, not even gas or anything. So I went to go shut it off this week, and I couldn't get this other EHR working properly and update my NPI number, my national provider ID. I said, I can't be out of touch with my patients' stuff until I transfer. People probably transfer, and they probably get charged $5,000 for the service to transfer one set of files to another. So I got to be real serious. That's the problem with you're in self-employment, especially healthcare. If you change insurance companies, if you change your electronic health records, you're going to lose access. There's something called tail insurance for malpractice, I guess. I never even heard of it. I guess it's for all insurance. If you leave this company and then somebody, say I left company A and start company B the same day, but someone sued me from last week, that would be company A, right? But I no longer pay for company A. Do I have to purchase a separate insurance policy to pay from today back, even though I was covered under someone else and paying it? Like, it's confusing. The car insurance my boyfriend had, I went in before his accident, and I had to switch something because it caused the bill to go up, and I switched it again, and I didn't realize that what the PIP really was, that the insurance companies will update your policy, say, hey, does this look okay? Press submit, and they'll take away and make your PIP 0. And if the next step up is like 2,000, so just taking an ambulance to the ER, boom, it's already 2,000. That's not counting any bandages. That's not counting. They have a separate fee for the provider, separate from the hospital itself, separate from the medical device that my partner got. And not even, it's a completely separate bill for the radiology. In my mind, if someone comes to my clinic, they get a bill, it's straight for that. If I have the supplement on hand, that's straight for that. They're not going to have to write separate checks or do separate insurance claims. Like, I don't get it. Like, of course, if I send them to a third party LabCorp to get some blood work drawn, or I even draw up the LabCorp and stick it, I'm going to stick their insurance information on that requisition form and send it back with a sample. So that, because they're processing it in Oregon, I could process a lot of my own, my Clio Wave, but I don't know why I can't do it here. Anyways, I want you guys to understand, and I didn't want to hear it from certain communities about politicians. I mean, what happens to people get billions and millions of dollars for homeless population, and the homeless population keeps growing? There's no shelter. There's no program. There's no resources. There's nothing on 211. If it is, it's a church or a 503, a tax defer or whatever, a church or a nonprofit that is helping, or individuals themselves from a facility collecting food and toiletries to literally pass out from volunteers. Where's all the money going for the different programs, for the schools, arts tax for Oregon, all this junk? Where's it going for, and you know what I mean. So the people that you go to the office, ooh, this government office is nice. You go inside, there's lights, there's heat, there's computers, there's people working, they're dressed nice, they got gold jewelry on, they got diamond earrings on, they got diamond rings and gold rings. But I've gone in and out of these communities or these government run facilities and got no help. They might yell at me. They say, oh, you, in order to be in compliance with your program, you have to have a meeting with this person. They yell at you, you're not a doctor. Yes, I am. Well, we have to find a job. You look on here. Well, I'm not an MD. They only want MDs to have 3 years residency. I need something else. You know? So feel in your heart if you can spend some time quieting your mind. I want to say pray and meditate, but if you can spend some time quieting your mind, going through with knowing that still small voice, from yourself and from a higher power, however you want to word that voice of reason, or not intelligence is what but that voice of all-knowing. If you knew that you're in a school that's racist, do you know that something's wrong when you take your dog to the doggy daycare and he comes back with those hot spots of kind of mange or something like that? Oh, no, we check everyone, sanitize everything. You know your animal's coming back sick, eyes all pussy, like you're like, something's not right. It's obvious. And you listen to these people and you know they're lying. But you're hoping for the best and you're so busy. You're reading about some wealthy people like Elon Musk being busy all the time, rushing around. And I feel like, be careful, guys, when you get more businesses, more jobs, more income, more licenses. Someone was asking about what is the CPR class for adults. All these things you need to maintain the job, not even counting a building, not even counting a fleet transportation, employees, managers, HR, IT, cybersecurity, insurance, everything. There's a hole in the roof, like everything. Corporation, transportation, or travel expenses, like doing this, accountants and lawyers and people drawing up documents. And how many times did they take Mark Zuckerberg to court for violations? Does he say, oh, here we go, this sucks, I have to go in, I'm gonna be on TV? They're just messing with me, messing with some kind of college project that he had or whatever. And so you got to be like, shoot, I got to spend a lot of money hiring legal counsel and hiring people to help me do the fine print. Like, you download that app and it says you can have access to all your contacts and your voice and your any files and your phone numbers and pictures. I mean, I want to say no to all of that. If I had a client call me, caller ID, and I never answer the phone, if I had any app, even like using your phone app, even using the picture app, and you have apps for jobs, they say you're required to put this on there. We need access to your personal stuff. Like, I need an old-fashioned flip phone for private individuals to call for privacy concerns. Like, I literally have thought about this. I don't know if those little phones you see in the AAA magazines are really as cheap as they seem to be, but I have no pennies. I have no money. We have 3 lemons left, and I'm pretty sad about it. We got some old bananas I found in the back of the fridge. I gotta go. I was gonna stop this at 10 minutes, but it's feel in your gut. Feel in your gut if you're like me, and you're super poor and you came from an upper middle class family whose relatives and family and themselves and their parents worked for the ultra wealthy, like the people that are gated off, not in suburbs, but gated off in the wrought iron fence with the gate that opens, and the butlers and the cooks and the different servants that come to the door. Those type of people, when my mom was hanging out with those type of children, that's a whole world that I don't know, except for her particularism. And that also comes with racism. So it's like 2 main extremes. She's going to come out of that neighborhood, going to school there. She's going to have a certain way she speaks. She's going to have a certain demeanor. She's going to potentially be interested in, music. She was in tennis, that's because of black folks though, but piano and cultural things. But she's going to go out in the world and go to school and have to go to segregated schools, black schools, or if she was in the South at that time, and she's going to have to be dealing with police pulling her over, or people saying that she stole something when she didn't, and people, you go into a store for 15 years, you never steal anything, you don't look like you steal something, and then you go through line buying crap for your kids, pencils and freaking notebook paper, and they call security on you. And you're like, really? Like I've gone through your line 20 times, lady, and I never once stole anything. If I was a thief, I'd either be really stupid and go to jail right away, or be really smart and there wouldn't be anything that would make it look like I was a thief. That's the way thieves are. But I can't believe it. I said I don't know anyone's phone number. They're about to call the police on me. I'm gonna turn that laundry off, drain it, and then fill it up. There'll be first rinse. So what I'm thinking is there's so much of a hidden world. I see so many properties and so many people that try to pretend that they're not wealthy by dressing and driving certain types of vehicles, but they stand out like a sore thumb because they're very distant from anything that I've ever been. And everyone has the right to raise their kids wealthy, and everyone has the right to keep their wealth and not share and donate to the poverty. I don't like how the government snatches up that money and people vote, oh yeah, we want to help with the sidewalks in Portland. I voted for gas tax so that we could help with the crosswalks and the flashers and the sidewalk infrastructure. I'm not seeing one improvement, and people still die. Large amounts of people. Look up in southeast Portland. Large amount of people died crossing the street as a pedestrian on a green light. Come on now. Like, you can take that money and put a police officer at each one of those stops, or like a red light camera, or something. You save at least one life with that money that we're paying to raise our tax 50 cents a gallon or whatever ridiculous thing, plus a housing tax. And if I was wealthy right now, I would sure as heck buy some kind of bunker. And I would sure as heck have some kind of bug out vehicle, whether it's an RV that looks like an RV or a minivan that's just like got hidden panels with freeze dried food, water filtration system, so that if somebody were to break in, they look in. So it's just a minivan with a newspaper in the back seat, you know. I'd have land. I'd be growing food. I'd have an indoor, like really stealthy, not stealthy, it'd be stealthy, but it'd be contaminant free greenhouse, potentially underground. I'd have dogs. I'd have livestock. I'd have somebody that I pay to watch my stuff when I'm gone. My kids would have their school paid for. I'd have my no debt. People are saying wealthy. This is what the wealthy do that you don't know about. They use debt. They start all these companies and they get capital, and then they use that money to keep these businesses going. And I was like, if I was old school wealthy, why would I take out a loan? Now, maybe because I'm not, I can see people that are trying to attain wealth doing that. Take a chance and see if you borrow 100,000, if you can make $1 million. If you fail and don't make a penny, then you default on that million or that $100,000 loan under LLC. You bankrupt, right? And like I can see someone trying to be wealthy. I can see somebody 90,000, 100,000, maybe even $1 million a year. But I don't see somebody who's got $1 billion in the bank. I could be wrong because I've never had that. But share your thoughts on what you think is really going on. I'm not trying to have people disclose what they're doing, but just like the people, a lot of times it's obvious. If they are going on vacations and going to the Caribbean and going to Spain and traveling and getting full bred dogs and doing like, oh, they have a plain car, but your car is 3 years old versus 23 years old. Like, you know, and what do you do when you meet with your family? What do you do when it's a holiday and the rest of us still have to work and send our kids to daycare that we can't even afford? Peace, guys.